See, first of all, we need to understand what you mean by a method. See, always you remember the method, and this sometimes it is called as function. What is the differences between a method and a function? Let's open and see what Google gives the answer. Method versus function. Let's see from the Java perspective. Now here you can see it. The main difference between a function and method is a function is free of any object, whereas method itself is a static or non-static. Let's go see from here. What is this? Method. Non-static methods take hidden pointers to this and their parameters. This decision also is simple. A series of statements which return some values to caller. It is called a function. A function is defined inside a class body that attributes an instance of this one. Okay. So what I'm trying to see is which is a very common and easy to use that one. Okay, let me define this one. So rather than you get confused on this, methods are prominently used in OOPS concepts, and functions are used in functional programming languages, which is OOPS concepts language and then functional programming languages. I think we have been discussed in the introduction, this particular things. What is high-level language?
Human readable language.
The code which we have written, so that can be in a human readable language. So this is not high-level language. Low-level languages is it will not read by human readable language. It can be understandable by the system. Understand this one. Now, when we have this particular thing, where we use methods and where we use functions. So methods are used in OOPS. So what are the OOPS-oriented languages? What are OOPS-oriented languages?
Java.
C++.
C#, Python.
See, Java and C# are OOPS-oriented. Python is not OOPS-oriented. But we can use OOPS concepts there, but that's a functional programming language. What do you mean by functional programming? It all depends upon the functional. Based upon the functions, they will write the programs. That's a very simple definition. There are a lot of things behind it. Now, you need to understand that methods and functions do the same purpose. In our terminologies, when we use methods or functions, most probably in Java, we use it as methods. And most probably in Python and other languages, we use it called functions. Now, functions or method is nothing but a set of code, a set of lines of code combined to execute certain tasks, then this is called a method. It's a group of steps which you need to combine to form a particular action. Method is an action. Example, I think majority of the people you have favorite stars, film stars. Example, Prabhas. So he acts well, he dances well, he fights well, he sings well. So now if you see here, now he is performing some action. When a particular thing is performing an action, then this is called a method. The simplest definition for a method. Method is nothing but if you perform certain action, then this is called a method. With a set of group of statements. Now what I'll try to do, I'll try to create an add method. Add int A, int B. Means if I pass two parameters, it should add me and then return the C value. Or it prints the C value. Now, in my lines of code, in my main method, I can call this particular method n number of times. Add. Now here I have 4 to 5 lines are there. Imagine that 4 to 5 lines. But here, when I written this one, I always only call, means I have been, means if I wanted to call these 4 to 5 lines for 15 times, 15 into 5. But whereas here, I can just call with the 4 lines of statement, I can reduce the statement because this is called reusability. Means I define that particular set of statements at once. And whenever it is required, I'm just trying to call that particular things. So this is the advantage of methods. So methods are helpful to reduce the lines of codes. And methods are nothing but it performs an action. Methods are nothing but it's a set of statements. It can perform certain action. And methods and functions are same. In object-oriented languages, methods are used called, means it would be more functional, more towards called as a methods. And functions is also same. So this can be called wherever it required. So you define this particular method definition, and whenever it required, wherever it required, you're calling those particular methods. So that is a basic difference between, that's a basic thing of a method and the difference between a function. Let's imagine that. Let's go back here. And then what would be the syntax or what would be the basic things it's required to create a particular method? Now, for an example, now I wanted to create a particular methods, right? Now I just wanted to create a particular class. Now this is demo on methods, right? Now I created a method here. Now I created a class here. Now I wanted to create the different methods. Now, first of all, you should understand the syntax of a method. Syntax of a method. Now, before this one, what we have discussed, what is method? Difference between a method and function. And syntax of method. I hope it is clear for you, right? Now, what is a method? Difference between the method and a function. Syntax of a method. Now, different types of methods and explanation of different type of methods. So these are the things which we wanted to discuss for our next 45 minutes of our session. Okay. So now, what is a method? We have been discussed. So method, if you perform certain action, then this is called a method. Method will have certain set of statements which it can achieve some particular activity or action. And the basic differences is method and function almost all same. So we can define a method, and then wherever it be required, we can call that particular method, so that it is very much useful for us to do the reusability. It reduces the lines of codes. That's a benefit of a method. Now we wanted to go for method syntax. Okay. And for which one the method will have it. So actually I need to slightly deviate over here. I'll just introduce some other things so that it will be much more easier for you. I take in the same example, right? For what we will have a method. I'll talk about few things now. First of all, oops, right? What do you mean by oops? Expansion of oops?
Object-oriented programming program structure.
Now, object-oriented programming structure. Now, the name itself, it was saying that object-oriented. It means that you're trying to, means the complete concept will revolve around an object. What is an object?
It's nothing but any object which we can feel and touch. It's nothing but an object.
Object is nothing but it's a real-time entity. So Pramila, take care. So your video is on. What do you mean by an object? Ramila, please take care that your video is on. Okay, what is an object? Object is an real-time entity. What is meant by real-time entity? For an example, in front of me, I'm seeing some grids. And in front of me, I'm seeing mouse, keyboard, and 3 laptops, desktop or monitor, and water bottles. And I'm seeing some specs and some hand crushers, and all these things I'm seeing. These are the objects, right? We normally in English terminology, we used to call this as an object, right? The same thing. If you're seeing, for an example, I'm touching my mouse, I'm touching my keyboard. So these are all called as an object. So every object will have 2 categories. Okay, I'll take the same example. Usually I take, when I explain this particular concept, I take the example, right? Now, let me take the film actors so that we will be having the easiest way of doing it, okay? So we'll take Surya. Now, Surya is one of the film actors from Tamil. So one of the good and excellent actors. Now, just let's, when we talk about Surya, so consider him an object. For every object, I'll have 2 things. One is attributes or characteristics and behavior. Characteristics means, hey, he is 5.10 feet height and he is very stout and he is fair. Means I'm trying to tell his characteristics and what his behavior. He talks well and he acts well and he sings well and whatever. See, if he is performing some action, then this is called the behavior of that particular object. And if you say that the characteristics of this particular object, then this is what the characteristics. So every object will have characteristics and then behavior. So now characteristics are nothing but, for an example, now we're taking human beings, that's where we are giving it. Now let me take a mobile phone. I'm seeing my mobile phone here. Now, what are the characteristics of this and what are the behavior of this? Characteristics are nothing but, hey, this is 6.4 inches and this is a dual screen. So I can open the mobile phone and then I can talk. And it have 12 GB of RAM and it have 32 GB internal RAM and 64 GB external RAM. And this is Android 11. So now if you see here, I was trying to give the characteristics of this particular phone. Now here I'm saying that, hey, it's in black color and it have a cover and all these things are the characteristics. Now behavior. I can chat, I can take Zoom calls, I can call the people, and I can watch the videos, and I can send some text messages. So now these are the behaviors. Means with this object, what are the actions I can perform? So these, I'm trying to perform this particular actions. So now these are the behaviors. Now let me tell me, you take any object in front of you, any object, and tell me that object properties and the, object characteristics and the behavior. I'll come one by one so that you can think about it. You take any object in front of you, mobile phone, laptop, whatever it might be, anything, so which you can touch and you can feel, that's an object, right? Pen or a calculator or a book or whatever you see in front of you. You take one and you can explain me about the characteristics and the behavior so that you can understand it more detail. Why I'm telling this one, you will understand at the last. Okay, go ahead. So who wanted to volunteer first?
Sir.
Go ahead.
Sir, in front of me, I have a water bottle, and it is a pink color water bottle, and
So
it
now
has a
what
small.
you're telling me? So now are you telling
It's
me the
a
characteristics or behavior?
characteristics.
Mm-hmm.
It has a small cap, and it can we can store a water in that.
Storing water is a
It's an
characteristics of behavior.
behavior. Now I'm telling about the behavior. It can store a 1 liter water in that, and it can store hot water and cold water, and we can drink by using that water bottle. This is then behavior. Its characteristics means it is a gray bottle. Its capacity is 1 liter. It has a small valve, only a small cap.
Awesome. So now that's
Thank
very simple. So now there's a very simple water bottle and it's in a gray color, a small valve. So these all things are characteristics and it stores, means we can store hot water. So now that's an action it can perform so that I can store hot water in these things and then I can drink it. So now that's the behavior of a water bottle. Now, who want next? Who else next?
So,
Go ahead.
in front of me, the earphone is there. Earphone have characteristics like black. It is a black color, and I have a it have a turn on, turn off button, pausing button, volume increasing button, and behavior is we can hear the music in the earphone.
Awesome. So now it means that, so now you have been defined what color and what is the things are there around that earphone and the behavior of that one to hear the music or hear the session or you can connect for any meeting. So that's the behavior of that object. Yeah, I think Monica, you're trying to say something. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. I have a pen in my hand, which I can touch and feel. It's in black and gold color. It has a cap and it writes in blue, thin and soft.
What is characters and what is behavior? You said all the things now. Segregate that one.
Yes, sir. Characteristics are, it is in black and gold color. It has a cap. And it writes in blue, thin and soft.
So that's behavior or characteristic?
Writes in blue is the behavior and rest all are characteristics.
Cool. So Aisha.
Listen, I have a notebook here. It is a black color. It contains some pages. These are the characters. Behavior we perform. We can write in that. These are behavior.
Sure. So now means there is a book. So it is a small book, small notes. It's a ruled book and it was 10 inches book and it's in a black color. So now these are all the things you are trying to give the characteristics. Now the behavior of the book is I can go and write the content into the book. So this is called means writing the content into it. It is very simple. So now as given an example, always remember that any real-time entity in the world is called as an object. Object is nothing but we can touch and feel. So now that is an object. Now, in this particular real-time entity, so for every object, there would be an characteristics and the behavior. You want some more examples? Are you clear with this? Go ahead, Shruti.
In front of me, I have a bag. It's black in color. It has 4 wheels. These are the characteristics, sir. It has 4 wheels and it's black in color and has 2 zip pockets and it has 2 side pockets. And the behavior of that is I can store big things inside a big slot and I can store small things in the small things and I can store water bottles like that kind of stuff in the side pockets.
Awesome. So means the bag can have the characteristics and the bag can have some actions it can perform. Means it can perform storing the any particular books, laptops, or any particular luggage, or the things I can carry out from that particular bag. Means that's an action it is performing by a bag. Now you understood that. What is an object? Object is a real-time entity. An object will have the characteristics and behaviors. Now you see here, behaviors are nothing but called as methods. And characteristics are nothing but called as variables or attributes. Now, for an example, you are defining, hey, now for just now Shruti said that, hey, a bag have 4 wheels. Now, int wheels. I have 4 wheels. I have int color, sorry, string, str, string color, black color. So now int pockets, I have 2 pockets. Now these are the attributes. Whenever you talk about the characteristics, so the characteristics are nothing but your variables. And behavior, that particular object is performing some action. When it is performing that particular action, then this is called methods. Now you understand why I talk about this particular object. An object consists of methods. Means the object should do some methods. For any object, they will try to do some action. So this is called an object. How I create an object, I'll discuss this creation of an object later part. But here my point of discussion is method. Okay, now via this particular objects, these methods can be used, or directly also it can be used. So anyways, those are the things which we'll discuss in detail in the OOPS concepts. But only one thing you need to understand, that methods is nothing but it performs some action. So that's a basic definition of a method. Every objects will have the behavior, which is called, every objects will have the methods and attributes, which is relevant to it. So this is the basic differences. For an independent thing, you'll have always your objects. And for an object, you'll have the methods. And that will be different to each other. So, for an example, now I take in the 2 people, right? So one is Surya and one is Prabhas. Now his height is 6.4 and this guy height is 5.10. And this guy acts well. This guy will act okay. And this guy is charming. And this guy is this. And he can act in the mass movies and he can act in the class movies. So now these differentiations we will be giving it. So these are the characteristics which I'm trying to give. Every object will have their own characteristics. So a bag will have its own characteristics and behavior. A water bottle will have its own characteristics and behavior. A headset will have its own characteristics and behavior. So that is what you need to take care. Okay. Now, an object means why this methods are there is every object will have the behaviors. So for that particular behaviors, these methods can be tagged. And some methods are there. It is very independent methods. This can be used by anyone. Driving a car. Anyone can drive that. Now, when I wanted to drive a car, so first I need to on the key. Next, I need to ignite. There will be ignite button. And then I ignite it, and then I need to keep a first square, and then I need to move the car. The same way that is how I need to, there will be certain set. And this can be used, this method can be used by anyone, any object, because this is a very common. So the methods would be independent and specific to object. There would be a generic method, and there would be a object specific methods. So how that all things will be discussed, the tagging back all the things will be happen in the OOPS concept. But now coming back to here, now first let's see what is a basic definition of a method, or basic means declaration of a method, means syntax of a method. So now I wanted to give method name. Always you remember that method names should start with the small letters. I just wanted to try out with something. It was not worked. Okay. Now, Method name should be a small letter. Method 1. And always remember that if it is a method, it need to be opened by braces, closed by braces. And this method will have the space. Means what this is called method body. And then this is method signature. Still the method signature was not yet completed. This is method name, right? Now in front of this one, public, we will be having public places, public park. Public park means everyone can go and use it. So that is called public. Private park, private launch, private swimming pool. Means that's it owned by me, which it can be private for me. Public, that can be public swimming pool, public parks, that can be used by anyone else. So now this method can be used. So now this is called access specifiers. Means what is a category or what type of method is this? Is this can be used publicly or is this can be used privately or protected? So now there is another topic called access specifier. Access specifier talks. What type of method is this? Now for an example, you go for a company, can you go and access directly in all the places?
No.
You should have your identity card, you should have your access card. So that you can access to the respective place. So you don't have the accesses. So the access will be given to the specific people, specific persons of that belong to that company. If it is a bank, for every bank employees, they will have access card in front to enter into the office. Now, the people need to go and get in from the locker. Certain people only will have the access, bank manager and then the bank holder, keeper. Not every employee will have that access. Means access restriction would be there. So now access restrictions we do have in Java 4. One is public, private, default, protected. So access specifiers altogether we'll discuss later. But now as of now, public means this method can be accessed publicly by anyone. And next one, void. What do you mean by void? Void is nothing but, for an example, now you go for a petrol bunk, you have been put a petrol for 1,500 or 2,000 or 10,000. Then the transaction you made it, and then it will say that void transaction. Void means cancelled, nothing is happened. Outcome is nothing. So why it is nothing? In the types of methods you can understand. So public, void, method name. And here we have another thing also, static. So now when it is main method, okay, by the way, the shortcut key for this main method, always you remember that main, okay, control space bar, it gives you the definition of this. If you see here, public, void, this is the method name. Let's think of that. But what is a static and non-static? This complete OOPS concept was dependent upon this static and non-static. If you understand this static and non-static, you almost understand the OOPS. And this is a very simplest topic, but it would be the most, it will try to confuse you more and more. We'll take this particular topic later. Now, as of now, I'll not talk about the static. I'll talk about non-static. How I know this is a static method and this is non-static? Boss, by seeing this, I can understand. The name itself, it was defining it as static. If I don't define it as a static, then it is a non-static.
Non-static.
If I given the static in here, then it is called static method. Now you see here, public is an access specifier, static or non-static method, and it is not returning anything, and this is a method name. So now if you see here, this is a method name, and then this is a not returning anything, that's a void, and then access specifier. Now there is a thumb rule. If I wanted to call a static method inside a static method, then I can call only static method inside a static method. Now, for an example, now in this particular main method, if I wanted to call this method, it will not allow me to call. Because it will say that, boss, you don't belong to my group. I accept only static. I only accept static, not anything else. Then what I'll try to do, I'll take this one as a static and then I'll keep it for the namesake to access them. Later on, I'll let you know what is static, non-static. Now, if you see here, this is what a method and declaration. Declaration means you're trying to declare a method. Public is an access specifier, static is non-static. That's a type of a method. And is it returning anything? No, this is a method name. Now, let me print here SYSO saying that, okay, here I'll be saying that, first, I am first. Now, this is called, now, if you see here, now the first step which I have done, declaration of method. I declared the method. Now, this is called implementation of method. These terminologies are very, very important. If I write something in this particular scope, then this is called as declaration, sorry, implementation. And this is called declaration. This is a method signature or declaration. And this is the implementation of this particular method. Now, I declared a method. I declared and implemented a method. Now I need to call this method, right? So this is called method calling. So that now if you call the method here, the method is called here. See, for an example, if I call Balakrishna, now the Balakrishna will respond me. If I called Aruna, Aruna will be responding me. If I call Gayatri, Gayatri will be responding me. If I call Swapna, Swapna will be responding me. So now it means I need to call here so that I can call them. Whatever the action they need to do, they'll come and then they'll do and they'll go. For example, now if at all I'm calling AC repair guy, so he will come and he repairs the AC. Now, whatever the job it required for me, I'll call that particular job. Now here I can have set of statements that it will come and then it will be executed. So this is called as normal method. Very simple, right? Is it really hard to understand what is a method and what is a normal method? Very simple. So now I declared and implemented a method. I called that particular method. As this is a static method, see, main is also a method. Now this is a main method. Main method is nothing but it's an igniter. So now if I need to start a car, I need to have a key, right? The same way, so from this particular main method, my program will start executing for this. In a class, can I, without having the main method, can I execute it? So now for an example, now I comment this one. Now, is this class would be worked? I can define all my methods, but I can't execute anything. If I execute this one, you see, nothing would be printed over here. So I required a main method. Now, if I didn't call this method, will it print me? See, if I execute now, what it will do? It will not do anything because I am not calling anything. So I should call the thing so that it will come and then it will print me. So now this is a method one. Now the same thing, I can call this one. And always remember that terms and conditions. Method name, the same method name, we will not have the same method name in a same class. So now this is the same class, right? Demo method is a class. In a same class, can I have the same method names? No.
No.
So I'll just change the method names here. Now, the same method I'll be calling, I can call those particular methods here. Can I call the same method for multiple times?
Yes.
Yes,
We can call.
See, that is what the reusable it means. That is what the usability of this. Now, if I wanted to change this one 2 and 3, I can call this. Can I call the method which is not there? No, because there
No.
is no method. See, it was saying that, boss, go and create a method. See, create a method or change the method names. I created the method. Let's see. 4 is not there. Now, 4 it created by default here. You see here, the method 4 was defined here.
Yes.
So this method was created. So now this is method 2 and this is method 3 and this is method 4. So I have some problem with my mouse. So now this is method 4. And if you see here, if I execute this one, this is what my output. See, last 2 methods it called that and then it went. Now, if you want to do a debug, so just keep the debugging point. Now you do the debugging. See, now it means now the debugging pointer comes here. Okay, so now I wanted to do F6. I wanted to go inside the method. Then I'll click on this. Now you see here it went to the method 1. So it's in this yellow color line. Okay, so now what it wanted to do, I don't know, I wanted to give an F6. It came out. Now second time, F5. I go into the method and then I come out of the method. Now the next time, once again, I'm going into the method. Go into this. Now it printed me third time. Now I wanted to go for, see now, it is method 1. Now it was going to go method 2. Let's see. It went to the method 2. And then it would be printing for the method 2. Now you see, it was going for method 4. Now you see here, it goes to the method 4 and it prints this. So this is how it started to print me this. You got this output. So always remember that static methods can call only the static methods. What is static, we'll discuss later. Main is a static method so that only it can call the static methods. And every method will have the declaration and the implementation. So this is called method signature. And this is a public access file type of method. Returning method means what type of return it was happening and method name. And this is called method body, which we do the implementation. Any questions in the normal method?
No.
Any questions in the normal method?
No, sir.
Now, going back to parameterized method. Now, I wanted to go for next step, parameterized method. What do you mean by parameter?
Method includes parameters that needs to be passed.
What is meant by a parameter? I'm not asking you this one. First of all, you tell me what is a parameter?
It's like variable.
Variables are like declarations.
See, what is a variable? What is a variable?
Data can be stored in a variable.
You guys are able to see my screen, right?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes,
Okay.
sir.
So what do you meant by the parameters?
A numeric
Or okay,
value.
variables.
Any data can be stored in a
Numeric
variable.
value.
Is
Value will be stored in variable.
yes,
See,
the container that stores the values.
variables are nothing but will have different type of values which we wanted to store it. It's like a container, I can store different values. Parameters are, that's a different synonym. There are slight hairline differences out there, but I don't want to get confused with that particular hairline differences. So variables, how we use the variables, even the parameters are also there. Now parameterization. Parameterization. What do you mean by a parameterization? Let's look into the basic definition of this one. Parameterization. Information can pass to the methods as a parameters. Parameters acts as a variables inside a method. So if you wanted to pass certain informations to a method, then that is called as a parameter. Parameters can act as a variable inside a method. Means if you wanted to pass some information to that particular method, then we need to pass a parameter. And then these particular parameters will act as a variables. So now that is what the basic definition, right? Let's see that. Now I wanted to pass some information to this particular method. Now what information I wanted to do? I wanted to pass the information that I wanted to do some addition. Okay, that is what I wanted to do. What I'll try to do. Addition means I need to have two numbers at least, right? I need to have, that's addition means it's an integer, basically, right? Int
X.
See, you need to come out from that one, int x, y, all those things. So always you remember, so follow the standard. Int value 2. Now, I just wanted to pass these values. Now what I wanted to do it. So I wanted to have the sum. Now I need to have this into value 1. Okay, so now this into value 1 plus into value 2. Somewhere else I need to store this value, right? 1 plus 2 or whatever the values. Now what I'll do is int sum or int result, whatever it might be, equal to. So now, why it is throwing error for me?
So because in the parameter we have given int value
V capital.
Okay, so now I wanted to just print out this way. So here I'm saying that was some so I wanted to print here. Now what I wanted to do, I'm passing this particular information to this particular method, and these particular values as used as a variables here. You see it? And I'm trying to get the output value. So now let's see when we're calling this method. You save the file and you go here, terminate. Now by going here, you can see that some error is coming. See now what it was saying? When you hover on this method,
we need to pass the value.
Why it is not one? See, it was saying that it's going to give me just 1 second. If you see here, it was saying that the method have two parameters, int and int. I mean passed it. So that's the reason it was saying this. So it was saying that add parameters or remove that particular parameters. 0, 0 taken by default. Now what I'll try to give? I'll try to give 100 and I'll try to give 200. Now next time what I'll try to do? I'll call the same method. Now this time I'll give this one as 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now you see, I can change the values here also. 5. Now you got it, right? Now if I execute this program, you see the output. See, it was having 8,009 these values. You see it? This is how the people will write their code. Very simple, right? Now they create a method according to that particular calculations. This would be executed. This will go with this particular value. It executes and then it will print that particular value here. Now here it went whatever the value it comes here, and then it will be added, and then it will be printed for me. This is how the parameterization. Parameterization is a dynamic values which we wanted to pass it for that particular entity. So this is called the parameterization. You will have the dynamic values. You pass the particular dynamic values to a method, and then you will start executing it. So this is called parameterization methods. Parameters are nothing but passing an information for a method, and those particular parameters will act as a variables inside a method, and it consumes the values. So this is called parameterized methods. Now you wanted to declare n number of methods, n number of parameters for this method, you can do that. You can do that. Now you wanted to define with a string. So string str name. Okay, now you can come here, and then you can print that string. Let's do that. Name. So here, you see here, by default, it was asking to give a name. So now here I can give this one as K1. So if you see here, so now I can change that one. So now if you've given the number of parameters there, 3, then I need to give 3 parameters. That's it, right? What's the mistake now? I'm doing it.
Double quotes.
That's it. I need to, because this is a string, right? I need to keep that one into the double quotes. So wherever I given the string, always a string is these things need to pass it with a string. Now this is called parameterization for the methods, parameterized methods. Is it difficult to understand? Is this complex? Yes, no?
No.
That's it. Now you can see it here. You got it. So this is how, or this is called as parameterization. This is how we do the parameterization for a method, and then we will discuss about it. So overall, we do have 3 types of methods. One is normal method, parameterized method, and the next one is a written type of methods. The same way, how you understood this one, the same way the written type is also same. That's not a big difference at all. So any questions still here in the normal method and parameterized methods? You can have 1,000 parameters also. If at all not using, don't create it. If you're using, you can create it. But when you're calling also, you need to give the 1,000 parameters. So did you understand what is a declaration? First of all, what is a method? Differences between a method, a function, syntax of a method, different type of a method, normal method, parameterized method. These are the things which we have been discussed for today. Any questions? Yes.
For my confirmation, I'm asking that while declaring the method here, we are using public. No? Without public also we can create. No? Is there any difference for that?
Let's do that. Let's do that.
Yes,
if I remove this one, is it throwing any error?
No.
No.
This is called default. I told you, right? There are different access specifiers. If I don't mention any particular public specifier, then this is called as a default method. I told you that these there are 4 types of access specifiers. One is public, private, protected,
Default.
and default.
Default.
Now, if you see here, this is public I have written, right? Now, I'll give it as private. Now, this is a private method. Now, if I wanted to create with a protected, okay, everything will have their own names, okay? Protected. What is protected method? What is public method? What is private method? What is default method? So these are the 4 types of access specifiers we need to discuss. That we will discuss in the access specifier concept. But as of now, you just need to understand method declaration. See, for a method declaration, definitely by default, there will be the access of that method. Means by default, means if you're keeping something in a locker, you'll have your keys. Means whether it's that keys, you can keep it with the public, or you can keep it with you and your family, or you keep it with only with you, or it can be accessed by anyone else. So now giving that access is up to you when you're creating a method. So how you wanted to give it, so that depends upon you. Okay, so if you don't mention anything, then that is called default. Now this is a default method. Hope you got the point. But what is default, what is protected, what is private, what is public, that we will discuss in the later section, in the access specified concept. Any questions? And today's session is very, very important. So whoever I leave or missed, I don't know. However, so that's it for the day. And I'll continue because written methods are there. I don't want it to be complete within 2 minutes or 3 minutes. I'll start back with the written methods tomorrow so that we can discuss.
So, can I ask any doubt from the previous class, like this one, break and continue? Actually, I'm stuck somewhere.
Sir.
Okay. Just 1 second. So I'm talking to Shruti. So once after her, I'll come back to you. So Shruti, let's do that, but not now because